It was a quiet night in August 1977 when Peggy Hodgson, a single mother living in a council house in Enfield, North London, was awoken by the screams of her daughters, Janet and Margaret. When she rushed into their room, she found the girls clinging to one another, saying that their beds were shaking violently. Peggy didn't see the beds shaking, and after a quick look, couldn't find anything or anyone that could have caused this to happen, so she just thought that the girls maybe had a bad dream or were pulling a prank. But little did she know that this was just the beginning. Over the next few days, the strange occurrences just got more bizarre. Furniture began moving on its own, strange knocking sounds echoed through the walls, and small objects seemed to fly through the air. Now, if this doesn't sound scary, just imagine being in your home, a place where you find comfort and can let your guard down. Then suddenly you hear knocking on the wall coming from the next room, and you know that none of your family are in that room. Wouldn't that freak you out? One evening, as the family sat in the living room, a heavy set of drawers slid across the floor and only stopped when Peggy started pushing back against it. By this point, she knew that this was no prank. Desperate and frightened, Peggy sought help from her neighbors, who also witnessed some of these events take place. The police were called, and an officer reported seeing a chair move clearly across the room. Unable to explain what they had just seen, the police suggested contacting the local news. Soon, the story of the haunted house on Green Street became the front page news. The situation caught the attention of Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair, investigators from the Society of Psychical Research. They arrived at the Hodgson home, armed with cameras and recording equipment, and almost immediately they experienced the phenomena firsthand. They saw objects moving, eerie voices, and the chilling sight of Janet seemingly levitating off of her bed. Janet, just 7 years old, became the focal point of the activity. She would often speak in a gruff male voice, claiming to be a man named Bill Wilkins, who had died in the house years earlier. The strange part about this was that when she spoke in this voice, she would say things that Janet couldn't have known, which made it seem as though she was being used as a medium for some otherworldly entity. For over a year, the investigators documented these events. They recorded countless hours of audio and took many photographs, including one that appeared to show Janet being flung across her room. The media, neighbors, and even skeptics visited the house, each coming away with their own story of unexplained occurrences. Despite the extensive documentation, not everyone was convinced. Some argued that the children, particularly Janet, were behind these disturbances. On occasion, Janet was caught bending spoons and attempting to fake phenomena, which could only make people doubt a lot of it ever even happened. However, there was just so much that people had seen that they just couldn't explain. So a lot of people were still convinced that something paranormal must be taking place. The sheer volume of witness testimonies and recorded evidence suggested that something extraordinary was happening at the Hodgson home. In the years since, the story has inspired books, documentaries, and films, including the hit movie The Conjuring 2. Whether a genuine paranormal event or an elaborate hoax, the Enfield Poltergeist continues to captivate and mystify, a chilling reminder of the unknown lurking just beyond our understanding. Peggy never changed her story about the events in all her life until she passed away at the age of 73. Her daughter Janet claimed that although some of these events were exaggerated, the haunting was real and it stayed with her even to this day.